Okay, I am here. I am here. On time, pretty much. 4:02. Wow, 10 people tuned in already? Wow. It's maybe going to be a popular show. The Tim Walz grooming allegations are the most serious. So if that blows up into becoming a mainstream story, then it could qualify as an October surprise. So I'll play you. I might play you someone else's summary of it. That guy on Twitter. What's his name? Gosh, I have a bunch of tabs open. And then the other October surprise potentially is the Kamala plagiarism. But the Kamala plagiarism, I don't know if people are going to care or not. Not sure. What's up, Jedi? Hello, William Birkin. Hey, Chrissy Tina, Schaff, Bernhard Blecha. Good. I'm glad you can hear me, William. Thank you for confirming that. Good to see you guys. It's Monday. It's Columbus Day. I was going to open with a clip of Kamala. I heard she used to pronounce her name differently herself. That it hasn't always been Kamala. What's up, Mad Hatter? How are you guys doing? Big day today. Big news day. Yeah, but I guess this Walz grooming claim has been going on for some time. But it's Columbus Day today or Indigenous Peoples Day. Probably in my state, it's officially called Indigenous Peoples Day. But here's Kamala talking about it. Hold on. Let me put in my earphones. At least one of them. So we'll get the best sound quality possible. Let's see. Is it gonna see it? Are you guys doing good? Did you have a nice weekend? Do you guys watch football? Do you think it's rigged? I wonder. I watched the special about the NBA being rigged by a referee back in the day. So this is Kamala on Indigenous Peoples Day. I'll start with this.
It is an honor, of course, to be with you this week as we celebrate Indigenous Peoples Day, as we speak truth about our nation's history. Since 1934, every October, the United States has recognized the voyage of the European explorers who first landed on the shores of the Americas. But that is not the whole story. That has never been the whole story. Those explorers ushered in a wave of devastation for tribal nations, perpetrating violence, stealing land, and spreading disease. We must not shy away from this shameful past, and we must shed light on it and do everything we can to address the impact of the past on Native communities today. It is an honor, of course, to be with you this
intro.
Week as we celebrate.
Boy, that's brilliant. I do think some things in the world are real. Like you guys. You guys are real. Most of you. Most of my listeners, I think, are not just in my head. I think I have the metrics to prove it. You've taken a leap of faith today. What is that sound? And I apologize if you take offense. I'm a little offended myself. Welcome to our show. Welcome to the future. What it is, joining you live from sunny California. It's a beautiful day today. I'm your host, Nathan Stoltman. And I bring you the news, the real news. Yes. Christina says, my son says they talk about Columbus Day in school, but everyone is sad about it. He's 12. Yeah, Columbus. He was There's some confusion about what, but he's supposedly Italian. But I hear the history of Christopher Columbus isn't super pinned down, I don't think, exactly. But he found something. Of course, Vikings had been here before. Other people had arrived before. So how do I feel about it? I don't care about Columbus Day, certainly. I don't care enough to tweet out Happy Columbus Day, but Donald Trump did. Happy Columbus Day to all. I think it's, and then JD Vance also said Happy Columbus Day to everyone, especially the amazing Italian American community in Ohio. And Kamala Harris said Indigenous Peoples Day is a time to recognize the suffering and oppression the Indigenous community has endured and honor the numerous contributions they've made, not just the United States, but our world. And Governor Tim Walz says today, for the first time as an official state holiday in Minnesota, we celebrate Indigenous Peoples Day. I'm pretty sure it's Indigenous Peoples Day in California. It's got to be. It's got to be. So that's the holiday today. If you work for the government, you get a lot of days off. And banks and things like the post office, I think, is closed today. So no shipping t-shirts out today. Make sure to check those out. I'll run the ad several times. Truthclothing.io, is having a sale. Big sale. You can get t-shirts for as low as $5 at truthclothing.io. Yeah, it is sad. I mean, I don't know. So, and they probably get an Indigenous Peoples Month too. People think of Thanksgiving kind of as an Indigenous Peoples holiday too. Any word says you didn't know Columbus was, I don't know about that. Was he really? He apparently enslaved some people. He was pretty mean. That's what I heard. So Kamala Harris is, okay, so that's what she said today. She's fading in the polls. In fact, this latest NBC News poll is pretty bad for her. It shows her tied nationwide, which is bad. If they're tied nationwide, she's going to lose. So let me show you NBC covering it.
I mean, the top line is the 5-point advantage that Kamala Harris had in our last poll is gone. What's behind that shift?
Yeah, exactly, Savannah. I mean, just look at them side by side and you can see it. Remember that poll we took a month ago that you see here? It was just after that first Trump-Harris debate. Since then, we've had the VP debate. There have been some campaign activities, some interviews, some things that have changed in that time. I think this might be the biggest for Harris. We just asked the basic image perception people have. Is it positive or negative of these candidates? The Trump number's always been somewhere in this territory. In fact, this is a little bit high for him, believe it or not, 43% positive. But look at Harris, 43 positive, 49 negative. The significance, we polled this a month ago. She was 48% positive and 45 negative. She was above water, as they say. That's completely reversed. It now looks very similar to Trump's. That's a pretty big shift when you're talking about a race this close. And then there's the weight of the fact she's the VP in an unpopular administration. We asked about President Biden's policies. Are they helping or hurting your family? Just a quarter of voters said they're helping. Nearly half said they're hurting. And then here's the interesting twist. We also asked folks, think back to when Donald Trump was president. Did his policies help or hurt your family? And look at the difference. 44% helping, 31 hurting. Trump's, the retrospective, you would say, opinion of Trump's presidency among voters, arguably higher now than when he was president.
And
there you go. So those are the odds from NBC, who had her ahead by 5 points nationally, which was kind of questionable, but tied nationally. That's really, really bad for Kamala Harris. I checked into the predicted betting odds. Well, I checked into both sets of betting odds. Oh, I can share the screen. Let me see. Stop screen, present, share screen, and then window, Polymarket. Here's the Polymarket odds, which are 55 to 44 right now. They haven't really changed. Oops, wrong wrong tab. They haven't really changed since the latest polling came out, which is really bad for Kamala Harris. Yeah, it's still 55 to 44.5. He's ahead by a little over 10 points. But it hasn't gotten worse in the last few days, even though her polling seems to be getting much worse. So let me show you another. Yeah, and Trump seems to be doing well in Pennsylvania. I'll show you this thing about Walz Grooming. So this is more polling about how Trump is doing better. It looks like he's going to win. I would bet on it. I could still, but I have to give my identity and everything. It's a little annoying doing the betting on Predict It. Here's the Benny Show and a Rasmussen head pollster. Rasmussen is always the one that's been most correct. And they show Trump leading in Michigan, Arizona, Nevada, North Carolina, Georgia, pretty much all the swing states, pretty much all of them.
So let's talk through some of these projections really quickly. Can you walk us through this weekend's polls leading up to your poll here in Pennsylvania? But there are some big corporate media polls who you came on our show, Mark, pre-hurricane, and you said the Kamala collapse, give it a week or two, is exactly what you said. Oh, and that's probably 2 weeks ago. And here we are with multiple corporate media polls coming out this weekend. I'd love for you to do a little bit of a roundup, but NBC News was the one that shocked me, showing that Trump may win the popular freaking vote. It's nuts.
After putting out Harris +5. Again, let's not forget how absolutely in the tank NBC News was. So again, when I polled Pennsylvania in September, I had a tie, but that really was, some of these major events they get a lot of press coverage on, they do get a juice for about 2 or 3 weeks. I think it's more what pollsters call a response bias than anybody actually changing their mind. It's like somebody saw Kamala Harris do well on the idiot box and they're like, oh yeah, I'll pick up this phone call. But there hasn't really been anything like that. And when we went into the field, we got Trump +3 in Pennsylvania. Now, we could do a roundup of all the states, but what you just showed was Trump winning, and it all hinged on Pennsylvania. And all of these numbers here, if you look at Real Clear Politics, there are some blue things in the Pennsylvania aggregate. But for instance, the biggest lead besides Bloomberg Morning Consult, who just sucks and we shouldn't even consider them, is New York Times Siena. But they oversampled Biden 2020 supporters, like I said, by 8 points. So that's a Trump +4. So you have us, Trump +3, them, Trump +4, Insider Advantage, Trump +2, the Hill Emerson, Trump +1, Trafalgar, Trump +3. Rich Barris is coming out with another Trump lead. It's done. Trump's winning Pennsylvania. The only question is he going to win by more, and is he going to drag McCormick over the finish line? But like this has kind of looked like this for a month or two. Trump's up by 0.1 now. That's because Morning Consult and New York Times Siena are dragging that number down. But anybody could have looked at this page a month ago and said, well, look, you've looked at the numbers at the top too, like Clinton +8. No way. She lost. Biden +7. No way. He won by 1. So there's going to be polling error again to the left. Trump's going to have maybe a blowout in Pennsylvania, just depending on whether or not the Postal Service shows up for him.
There you go. He might have a blowout in Pennsylvania. They're talking about a soft landslide. The polls keep getting closer. Here's the summary of the 2024 polls. Trump versus Harris nationwide. She leads. Now her lead is down to 1.7 points. And I don't think that's enough to win. And she's doing an interview on Fox News, which I think is a bad idea. She must be desperate. She's doing an interview on Fox News Wednesday at 6 p.m. with Brett Baer. So that was just announced today. She must be feeling really desperate. And then she's doing this thing where she's pandering to black voters, talking about cryptocurrency of all things. That's kind of weird. But she's in full pander mode. Let's see. There's more polling.
I mean, the reality is that for the first time in 32 years in this poll, it shows that Republicans are beating Democrats straight up. When you ask people a generic ballot in 32 years, it shows that Donald Trump's doing better with black voters, Hispanic voters, off the charts. But what the most important thing is, what happened last week is that what was working with female voters with Kamala Harris was that there was some feeling of joy in the air. Well, that joy is gone. She had a terrible week. She picked a pointless fight with Ron DeSantis. She was losing in the Sun Belt, and she tried to recover by going on The View, which a lot of women watch. She went on The View. You talked about it earlier, and she wanted to clarify the two most important issues that are facing these two candidates: the economy and immigration. And she bombed like Rory at the U.S. Open, and she went out there and said there was nothing she would do that would be different than Joe Biden. And she created a campaign commercial for Donald Trump. And so she's trying to recover. There is no joy in the air, and everybody knows it. And it's obvious that there is a leak in the balloon here in the Kamala Harris campaign.
Everybody's talking about it. ABC, CNN. Everybody's talking about the Kamala Harris campaign slowly deflating, like there's a leak in the balloon. I have another thing on that. I'm going to get to the Walz grooming allegations, but let me play you this longer clip of Stool Presidente. What's that guy's name again? Oh, God damn it. Who is he? Dave Portnoy. There we go. I'm going to show you Dave Portnoy's rant against Kamala. She's kind of, losing it. She was ahead. The more she talks, the worse it gets. Her showing up on Fox News could be the nail in the coffin, to be honest. I just can't imagine she's going to do a good job. It's not even like going to be a hostile interview with Brett Baer, but all right, here's Dave Portnoy's rant against Kamala with trips. Oh, yeah. Thanks for the Jedi says you dropped a link about an interview with an Walz victim. Yeah, I know there's an interview out there with an anonymous Walz victim. Yeah, it sounds, I'm tempted to believe it. I'll show you that. Lots of people talking about the Walz grooming in the chat. So we're definitely going to get to that right after this.
All right. Every once in a while, I get so fed up with politics. I got to do a rant and just let steam off. I try not to, but I've hit the boiling point. And it's the gaslighting that the left is doing with Kamala Harris, making it sound like she's some great, groundbreaking candidate. She is the worst candidate to ever run for president ever. There's two people voting in this election. Either you're voting for Donald Trump, you like Donald Trump, or you hate Donald Trump and you're voting against him. But Kamala Harris, let's stop her. And what put this over the edge for me? Last week, I'm watching our campaign rally, and she's up there being like, we need to turn the page in America. It's time for a new way forward, and I'm your candidate for change, and they're hooting and hollering.
It's time to turn the page. And America is ready for a new way forward.
And then I see her at a rally today, and it's the same message again. Time to turn the page. We need a new generation of leadership.
It is time to turn the page. It is time to turn the page because America is ready to chart a new way forward, ready for a new and optimistic generation of leadership.
This is the sitting vice president of the United States currently saying she's the candidate for change. Okay, fine. And by the way, she has to, because I think 90% of Americans, left or right, like the last 4 years under Biden, not great. Look at the world stage. Afghanistan was a disaster. The Middle East is basically in flames. You got Russia. Then on the homeland, inflation's out of control. People burning American flags in the street. The defund the police. Law and order doesn't even seem to matter anymore. You got the border, immigration. There's so many issues. Both sides be like, yeah, we need a change from Biden. Probably why the Democrats whacked Biden and installed Kamala Harris as the candidate. So she's like, we need change. We need this. We need that. But at the same time, when she's on her media tour last week, friendly interviews, Alex Cooper, call her day. Hey, Alex, Colbert, The View. And she's being asked the most simplest questions, softballs that she probably knew were coming. Hey, Kamala, how are you different from Joe Biden? What will be different since you are the sitting vice president of the United States now and you're out saying you're the candidate for change? She cannot answer it. She can't answer it. She literally is saying, well, I've pretty much been in every big decision. I'm the same as Joe Biden. I agree with him on everything.
If anything, would you have done something differently than President Biden during the past 4 years?
There is not a thing that comes to mind in terms of, and I've been a
That
part
might be
of-
where she
of-
lost
of
it, huh?
most of the decisions that have had impact.
Or she just rumbles and stumbles like, well, I grew up and I worked at McDonald's. And you know how I'm going to be different? My name is not Donald Trump.
Polling shows that a lot of people, especially independent voters, really want this to be a change election, and that they tend to break for you in terms of thinking about change. You are a member of the president administration. Under a Harris administration, what would the major changes be, and what would
Easy
stay the
question,
same?
right?
Sure. Well,
You
I mean,
even
I'm
set her
obviously
up.
not Joe Biden.
He even set her up and was like, people want you to say that you're going to be different. And then she's saying, turn the page. She's on the page, right? I heard somebody else say that first, but like, she's on the page. Turn the page.
I know.
And so that would be one change in terms of, but also I think it's important to say with, 28 days to go, I'm not Donald Trump.
Sister.
And so when we think about the
I'm not
significance
Donald
of what this next generation of leadership looks like, were I to be elected president, it is about, frankly, I love the American people and I believe in our country.
Crazy.
I love that it is our character and nature to be an ambitious people. We have aspirations, we have dreams, we have incredible work ethic, and I just believe that we can create and build upon the success we've achieved in a way that we continue to grow opportunity.
What are we talking about?
Just
This
makes
is the
no
candidate
sense.
that people are saying such a great leader and change. No, stop gaslighting us. There's two types of votes right now in this country. You're either voting for Donald Trump. I am. And by the way, I don't ever really love like celebrity endorsements, whatever. Do your research, make your own mind. But there's two types of votes. You're voting for Donald Trump or you're voting against him because you hate his guts and you vote for a potato or a head of lettuce or anything. That's my dad. It doesn't matter who's running. He hates Trump so much, he'd vote for whatever you put up there. But Kamala Harris can't even answer the easiest questions of all time. She never gives a straight answer. She doesn't seem to be able to put coherent thoughts together. It's actually scary for me to think about like what.
Enough. That's not his opinion. Yes. She can't. Agreed on that. All right, let's get to the Tim Walz. This is sponsored by Truth Revolution Clothing, truthclothing.io. Make sure to check out our stock of shirts, which are all for sale. Some of them as low as $5 for premium t-shirts that are screen printed. They're not just cheap on demand t-shirts. These are screen printed. They last a long time. They don't fade. I'm wearing one of like our original shirts. I'm still wearing it. Now, I could wear it every day and it still keeps a spice. So check it out, truthclothing.io. Pick up Freedom of Face shirts, $5. Freedom of Voice, Nassim, And then, of course, some crypto teas. Go to truthclothing.io. Make sure to get that. Okay, I'll play you somebody else talking about these allegations. This guy, Ian Carroll, who posts videos on TikTok. And so this is about the Tim Walz grooming story. I could tell you it, but he does a pretty good job. So I'll just play his explanation of it. Tim Walz grooming. I think this could turn into a big story, depending on how the news picks it up. The New York Post hasn't picked it up yet. I assume they'd have to talk to the victim.
Dude, the new October surprise just dropped, and it's pretty awkward for Democrats right now. If you haven't heard the news, I'm about to summarize the allegations being made against Tim Walz for rampant SA against minor students at the schools where he worked. And I say it's getting awkward because we just went through multiple years of believe every victim that accused Trump of literally everything under the sun with very little evidence to corroborate it. And these claims against Walz have not been corroborated yet in a major way. But at the end, you'll see why I think we're about to find out. And personally, I don't think it's looking good for Tim. Now, the story is being broken by DocNet YouTube on X, and this is entirely credit to his work, his ongoing work with child victims, and he's the one that's receiving these emails. He's the one that's publishing them. Go follow him on X. And it started on August 1st of this year when he received an email that said, "Hi, Doc. He was a teacher of mine at Alliance High School in Nebraska." This person said that because of Doc's work with child trafficked children, that's why he reached out to Doc. He says that Walz manipulated him, did unspeakable things to me. I can give you details that nobody else can, including later on specific details about tattoos and scars that Walz apparently has on his body in places that you would only know about if you had been intimate. But we'll get there in a minute. And I'm going to try to make this video at least Instagram friendly, although I'm not going to be posting it to TikTok. So I'm going to let you pause and read between the lines if you want to know all the details that this says. But this kid alleges, not a kid anymore. This is back in the 90s. But they allege they were 14 years old when they met Tim Walz. Then describes what can only be described as grooming in a major way, including being invited to a Indigo Girls concert by his teacher, by his assistant coach. Allegedly, it was just this young boy and Tim Walz at the concert. And then major grooming ensues. Then the spice happens at the end. Overwhelmingly tired from the drinks, maybe, who knows. And then they drive home. And this whole email is like the spicy details about what apparently allegedly happened on the first outing with Tim Walz. I'll summarize it for you. You can screenshot and wait and look if you want, but basically Tim Walz took him to a gay bar allegedly and then drove him home allegedly, though he doesn't remember that part. And then he sort of comes to while receiving that from Tim, allegedly. And this was just the start of a long, I would continually meet Mr. Walz.
It said
during
Hawk
1995.
Allegedly, Tim Walz performed oral sex upon him. That's what allegedly happened. Just since you guys are all adults, I'm pretty confident of that. Supposedly he did that, and then the guy thought he might be gay. Like he had a relationship with Tim Walz. I was reading through the emails. And then Tim may have been fired from his teacher job at the time. So there's a lot of information that if it continues to be corroborated, or if it is corroborated, it's very serious. It's a very serious story.
Spent a lot of time with him whenever I could. Can't remember the exact dates. We probably had 10 to 12 sexual encounters. More details to come. The student makes allegations about why Tim
Totemar says the gayest part of the whole thing is they went to see the Indigo Girls. Yeah, it could be the gayest part. Good point.
Walz was actually fired from his job at that school. And Doc has corroborated in the official records that there's some fishy business about Tim Walz's voluntary leaving of the school, meaning there was like a DUI involved, and the school board voted unanimously 6-0 to kick Tim Walz out. And then just this morning, this alleged victim released a legal statement basically saying that they're going to also go after this whole thing with the full force of the law. They're going to go public. So far, they've just been leaking information to Doc on X. It's going to blow up way bigger than that. Doc just posted this from the accuser this morning. They include that this is one of the students that accompanied Tim Walz and others on his trip to China. When Tim Walz received his DUI, it was after an evening spent with this accuser. This whole paragraph is kind of interesting in its implications, if true. And then here are the special details about Tim Walz's body that you
paragraph is, in fact, Gwen Walz has made statements that she attended the Indigo Girls concert with myself and Tim. That was not true.
would only.
It is my belief to this day that Gwen Walz was with another student at the time at the same concert, but I can assure you she was not at the concert with me and Tim Walz. Then he explains like details about Tim Walz, that he has a scar on his chest, a Chinese symbol tattoo on his upper thigh, and a small scar on his left arm that he says was more like a soft burn. So, I don't know. Sounds legit to me. And if that's true, yeah, I mean, I would think that would be, even though it's not Kamala, obviously, but I would think it would carry through. The negative thoughts about it would carry through. These freaking politicians. And Tim Walz, I don't know. He kind of just has that look, you know? Like it would be true. This is all uncorroborated for now. I mean, it's just one guy talking to one guy on Twitter. Some guy that exposes sex trafficking or sexual abuse on Twitter was given all these emails and statements, and he just put out this statement that you're seeing on the screen. He put that out today, which says that he's going to sue Tim Walz. It seems like he said he's going to take him to court. I don't know how though, because it was 30 years ago. I don't know where you're allowed to go back 30 years for a sexual abuse claim. Maybe somewhere. I don't know. Have to check the state laws. And then Tim Walz moved too afterwards. So he got fired. He showed that he basically got fired. It seemed like he and I don't know if Gwen Walz is his wife. They were both teachers there. I don't know who Gwen. Okay, I'll look it up. First Lady of Minnesota. Yeah, that's his crazy wife. There are some crazy clips of her. I didn't even show you the clip of her being crazy. Wonder if I could find that. Oh, yeah, I have that. This is her.
Whole thing. When the Scarlet team comes on the field, we will all stand up and cheer. To the other team, we'll never yield, and we won't forget what.
So I don't even think that's that weird. It was her screaming. I think her singing a college fight song isn't so weird. It's this. This is the video I thought was a little crazy.
Bye-bye, Donald Trump.
Look at her eyes. That is crazy.
We are turning the page.
What?
52 days and we are turning the page. 52 days and it is bye-bye, Donald Trump. Bye-bye, Donald Trump.
Okay, we're done. She does one really weird thing. Here.
52 days and we are turning the page. Think you do days, bye-bye, Donald Trump. Bye-bye, Donald.
So anyway, she might have covered up for him. That's all I'm saying. So they both left the school at the same time. I'll finish that video. Let's see, it's right here. Thanks for tuning into the show. We got like 100 people here. 100 veilers, lifters. Good to see you guys. Good to spend an afternoon with you. Oops, sound's gone. Damn. Okay, stop screen. Present again. It's weird how the sound goes out. Something to do with StreamYard.
And yeah, that includes a raised scar on his chest, a Chinese symbol tattoo on his upper thigh, a small scar on his left arm that was more like a soft burn. Yeah, anyways, this is just getting started. It's all breaking day by day by day right now on X, which is where actual news is happening today. If you're not already there, highly recommend you go there because everything else is just reporting about what's happening.
So this is Ian Carroll on X. What's his at Cancel Cloco? A weird handle. Cancel Cloco. CLOCO. Oh, cancel this clothing company on all the apps. Interesting. Well, he became like a TikTok reporter. He's been pretty good, pretty solid. That's how I saw this news about Tim Walz. So yeah, there's this guy that he's leaking that stuff to. Yeah, here. So like this is how this stuff is appearing. It's through this account called Black Insurrectionist. I follow back true patriots. That's all his name. DocNet YouTube. Apparently he's been telling this guy his stories. So, but he claims he's going to bring Walz to justice. I want to tell you some of the places I went with Tim Walz over the time I was abused. Give you descriptive information of Tim Walz's body. He went with Tim Walz to China. He attended an Indigo's concert with him. Apparently, 2 concerts with him. One for the Indigo Girls and one was a country music concert in Omaha, apparently. Omaha, Alabama, appears he's trying to say, if there is such a place. And he says that when Tim Walz got a DUI, it was after an evening he spent with him. So he got caught with a DUI, and then got released from the school and moved, I think. And they moved somewhere else. They should make him show his tattoo. He could confirm that easily. Nobody would know that. I wouldn't think. It wouldn't be publicly available information. Chinese character on his thigh. I say they strip search him or whatever. Make him. He doesn't even have to get naked or anything. He can just wear boxers and show that he doesn't have a tattoo there, or take his shirt off, show he doesn't have a scar. So this could be big. This could be big. So that's the news on the grooming. And if you want to look into it yourself, go to DocNet YouTube. At DocNet YouTube is the guy's handle. He's got the stuff laid out over a number of tweets, bunch of emails with this supposed victim. Swirly says it should be easy to corroborate. Yeah, I mean, the scar, yeah, he could corroborate that stuff pretty easily, you would think. So let's see if it's trending or anything. The other news is the plagiarism. The other news is the plagiarism. Oh, and then there's other news. Bitcoin is going up. It looks like that's the top tweet right now. Super cycle. Super cycle must have to do with Bitcoin, and that it's never going to go down again. And Sailor is trending too. It's mostly Bitcoin stuff trending. But if I look up Walz Grooming, probably that video from Ian, it's got to come up first. Yeah, that's from 8 hours ago. There's a foreign exchange student, apparently. Oh, yes. There's another accuser, someone who is interviewed, who's a foreign exchange student who claimed that they were sexually assaulted by Tim Walz. Wonder what this is. Yeah, and he's willing to go public. He's getting in touch with lawyers, he said. So apparently he's going public. And then there were stories before this about a foreign exchange student. Let's see what this is.
Tell me about your first encounter with Coach Tim Walz.
He would tell me like your secrets, you can trust me, and I will tell you my secrets, we can trust each other again. And he would go with those like strange movements up to leg, back to my back again, touching my butt. Or he made it very clear that nobody is going to believe me and I will be deported because of the wrong accusing of a teacher. I had a feeling for a long period of time that I cannot trust anyone because something bad can happen. I want them to know that they should talk about it and do something and never keep it inside.
So he was on this random podcast called Red Pill News, which is not a huge account. Although this Shadow of Ezra tweet of a trailer for that, yeah, there's a full interview it's on Rumble. I found a link to it from Red Pill News. There's a full interview with that guy, that I guess foreign exchange student, who says the same thing. He says that they shared secrets with each other. That's what this other accuser is saying as well, that they shared secrets with each other. How creepy, man. How creepy, how terrible. So this could be the real October surprise. And it could be that the betting odds changed because people knew that this was coming. But we'll see. It's still not in the mainstream news. I'll look up Walz Grooming on Google. Looks like the results are changing quickly. Yeah, Google's onto it. Yahoo News says MAGA invents its most outrageous Tim Walz conspiracy yet. The New Republic says MAGA has a new Tim Walz conspiracy. All right, let's see what they're saying. And I don't even know, like, is this video safe for YouTube, putting Walz Grooming in the title? I don't know. It says Trump's biggest fans. Hold on. Come on. Says Donald Trump's biggest fans have come up with an outlandish new conspiracy theory about Tim Walz. This is from the New Republic. But the screenshots undermine the whole thing. Okay, so the screenshots undermine it. Let's see. DocNet YouTube. That's weird. It is weird. There's an interview though with somebody saying the same thing. That's not part of DocNet YouTube. That's part of a different influencer. Red Pill News. And then DocNet YouTube, the Washington Post reporter Bill Summer describes as an up-and-coming new player in the making things up corner of online Trump world. Claims he has proof that Walz sexually assaulted a student during his time as a high school teacher. In a series of drops, he yesterday posted several alleged screenshots of communications between himself and Walz's anonymous victim. But the posts have several red flags about their authenticity. The email dates are formatted in an inconsistent way, with misplaced commas and strange text alignment. Another clue is what appears to be a typing cursor that still appears on the screenshot. Right there. See, I'm already thinking, I'm like, are they gonna, I might have to change the title. I actually think I might. Which is, I think I'll have to change the title. Let's see if I can edit it. And Walz Rumors, I'll say. Walz Rumors, we'll say, instead of Walz Grooming. Oh, I can't edit. I'm not trying to edit the schedule. Just trying to edit the title. Okay. Okay, I think I might have edited the title. Let's see. Much of DocNet YouTube's conspiracy hinges on him breaking the news of a student who went to a concert with Walz and his wife while the couple were teachers in Nebraska. The story isn't new. Aha. Okay. The story isn't new. The New York Times published this story in August, noting that after the anonymous gay student confided in them, the couple took them to an Indigo's concert, a rare queer-friendly event in the area. Okay. So this is what the New York Times said about it before? Okay. Interesting. So they're saying it was a gay student that confided in them, and then they took him to an Indigo Girls concert. So they're confirming parts of the story. Okay. Well, let's see his tattoo. But on Sunday, he tried to claim the media was trying to get out in front of the story instead of acknowledging that he was publishing old news. The internet personality claimed to have a statement from the victim. The anonymous student noted that Walz has a Chinese symbol tattooed on his upper thigh. Okay, yes. So what are they saying? In the comments, MAGA users quickly spun out about whether Walz could have gotten that tattoo laser removed. No, there would be evidence of it if it was laser removed. There would be evidence. Like, you can't remove things perfectly. So it'd be very difficult. I think at least. I think it still leaves like some kind of scarring where hair might not grow or what have you. Skin graft procedure. You would also see evidence of that. Laura Loomer has previously shared allegations like this, apparently. Yeah, and this other, the Red Pill 78, Red Pill News, had on this other guy. Well, they're saying it's fake, but I'm not sure the reasons for saying it's fake is And he was an advisor for the Gay Straight Alliance. Interesting. Well, they say it's outrageous. They're saying because of some date formats and because it looks like there's a cursor in one. I don't know for sure that's not necessarily evidence that it's fake. And you have to think it's of like whether someone who, if it was fake, they would come up with all those details and stuff. It looks like the results below are changing quickly. Yahoo says it's MAGA inventing its most outrageous Tim Walz conspiracy yet. Well, now they have 2 fake victims then who are telling similar stories. I don't know. Sounds kind of legit. But what am I supposed to say? I don't know. I literally don't know how YouTube works anymore, whether they just ban you for saying that. Because they'll be like, oh, it's been declared as misinformation. So anyway, this happened today. There's something called the wall for grooming. Yeah, that makes sense. Wall, WAHL, makes grooming products for grooming your hair. Well, there you go. You guys decide. I'm going to play some more clips of just Kamala being crazy. I have various clips, so I'll get through them now. I have Kamala just saying stuff that's nuts. Okay, so this is a good one. Go to that next. Sound. Show Kamala being nuts. Thanks for tuning into the show. Good to see you guys. Good to hang out.
So when we think about what's at stake in this election, whoa, it's packed with some stuff. It's packed with some fundamental stuff. I say rather articulately.
Doesn't even make sense.
So when we
It's packed with some stuff, some fundamental stuff. She can't articulate what it is that's different. She can't even say what's different between her and Trump, really. She says, oh, we're very different. Okay. They both want no tax on tips. They both want a big child tax credit. They both want immigration. Bill Clinton said something. This is all over Twitter. People sharing this clip. Bill Clinton saying Laken Riley wouldn't have died if the immigrant was properly vetted. Then some people are saying he's already turned it into a campaign ad. So Bill Clinton, who looks like death, unfortunately.
You had a case in Georgia not very long ago, didn't you? They made an ad about a young woman who'd been killed by an immigrant. Yeah, well, if they'd all been properly vetted, that probably wouldn't have happened. But if they're all properly vetted, and that doesn't happen, and America is not having enough babies to keep our populations up, so we need immigrants that have been vetted to do work, there wouldn't be a problem. And he couldn't keep people all torn up and upset. You had a case in Georgia not very long ago.
So him saying he's kind of throwing the Biden administration under the bus. I mean, that's the way people are interpreting it. Is that he's saying, hey, if they were vetting people, which they weren't, So he's also talking about the replacement theory, pretty much, kind of, which is that Americans aren't reproducing at a replacement rate. He said it before. People are posting this today, but I think it's from an older rally where he was saying the same thing, that we're not having enough babies.
I don't think Americans are anti-immigration. They're anti-chaos, right? They don't want us to do more than we can, but they recognize, at least most people do, we got the lowest birth rate we've had in well over 100 years. We're not at replacement level, which means we got to have somebody come here if we want to keep growing the economy. Unless one of you is one of these artificial intelligence geniuses and figured out how we can all grow with no work, which I'm not sure would be good for us. I think,
the reason that
Yeah, we can
there is
actually.
a housing crisis.
That's the thing, is actually a shrinking population. It's a hard one to, you always want things to be growing. And Elon Musk is talking about a shrinking population, but I would think that it would shrink and then it would grow again when times change. I don't know. Seems like if shrinking population made everybody better off in general, I don't know. It's a philosophical thing. I mean, Elon Musk says we have to keep having more babies and fill up the planet more. But all of that's to keep the economy growing all the time, like GDP. You have to keep having more workers. Well, eventually we're going to get to the point where we don't need more workers. It could happen like really fast. Really fast. I mean, Musk is just out there saying the cars are going to come next year. And I don't even know, like, for people that rely on doing DoorDash and stuff, a lot of foreigners drive for DoorDash. They give you an instant translation. It tells you that they're speaking to you in a foreign language. From DoorDash, it'll say, oh, translated from Russian. They have a lot of foreign workers doing that stuff, it seems like. So they put in a function into DoorDash that translates it into English, and they write it in their language. So it's like actually set up so it's to make it easier for foreigners. They don't have to know the language. They can still deliver packages, which kind of makes sense. In any case, once you have these automated cars, then they'll probably figure out a way to have restaurants that bring the order out to the car, probably, if they can make it cheaper to do it that way. I mean, delivery drivers hard, but Uber drivers, obviously, there are still a lot of those. More delivery drivers probably these days than Uber drivers. But Uber drivers are going to be out of business. Then truck drivers. It's not that they'll still probably want a person with the truck to do the unloading, the hitching, all that crap. But they won't need to have as many skills. They won't have to be trained, to drive a truck, because the computer will do that pretty much. And that's a pretty high paying job, mostly because you have to go to school. You have to have qualifications that a lot of people don't have. Oh, also, you're not allowed to use drugs. And a lot of people have opioid problems and can't pass a drug test. So that's like a pretty good paying job. But if it becomes kind of a low skill job where you don't have to really even drive the truck, then it won't pay as well. These computers are definitely going to take everything over. So he mentioned, I say that because Bill Clinton mentioned, oh yeah, unless AI is going to grow the economy. Oh, I think it could. It looks like robots are going to be able to do human jobs pretty well, the ones they don't already do. So then what do we need? So then we still need computer programmers. So yeah, and they come from India and China and stuff. And everybody wants more immigration, just immigration in general, whether it's legal or illegal. Even Trump supports more legal immigration. Okay, so that was Bill Clinton talking about replacement theory and talking about how if Laken Riley's killer had been properly vetted. Okay, so let's see. I can close some of these tabs. Oh, Kamala plagiarism. Okay. So that's the other October surprise, possibly, if people care. There we go. Christopher Rufo, through some Swedish guy's research, found that she had plagiarized sections, and he has the evidence right here in 5 different tweets. He's got the original and the text from her book, and it's at least 5 instances of pretty much straight plagiarism, including from Wikipedia on this book she sold in 2009. Now, the stuff that it's just like facts and stuff that were plagiarized without even changing the words around or anything. But it seems to just be kind of some facts where she took the numbers and stuff. From the Urban Institute, from Bureau of Justice Assistance, from Wikipedia. Here's this, where she literally took the Wikipedia one word for word. So pretty embarrassing, but I don't think that's enough to make her, because candidates Biden got away with plagiarism before. It's not that big of a deal, I don't think. But maybe it is a big deal. But she's not an academic or anything. And she had somebody else write the book with her. New York Post wrote a story about it already. So it's out there. The news is out there. We'll see if people think it's a big deal or not. Let's see. I have black guys saying they're done with Obama. Stanley Kubrick's daughter kind of came out in support of Trump, using Kubrick's film for his campaign ad. So that happened. He used scenes from Full Metal Jacket from the boot camp when they're getting yelled at and stuff. Have you seen that ad? He said he would be a Trump supporter, actually. Stanley Kubrick's daughter, I'll show you that. Stanley Kubrick's daughter said, my father had great respect for life. I feel very confident he would be a Trump supporter and would forgive using Full Metal Jacket if it helps the cause of freedom. So this was the clip.
You little scumbag! I got your name! I got your ass! You will not laugh! You will not cry! You will learn by the numbers!
Happy Pride. Happy Pride Month, and actually, let's declare it a summer of pride.
So you're a killer? Sir, yes, sir! Let me see your war face! Sir, you got a war face? Ah! That's a war face! Now let me see your war face! Ah! Bullshit! You didn't convince me! Let me see your real war face! Ah!
I hear it and I know I know you wanna take.
You will be a weapon. You will be a minister of death, praying for war. But until that day, you are pukes. You are the lowest form of life on earth. You are not even human fucking beings. You are nothing but unorganized, grabastic pieces of amphibian shit.
How to abracadabra, these bitches know I got answers the way I...
It looks to me like the best part of you ran down the crack of your mama's ass and ended up as a brown stain on the mattress. I love working for Uncle Sam. who I am. Let me know just who I am. 1, 2, 3, 4, United States Marine Corps. 1, 2, 3, 4, United States Marine Corps.
There, that was a Trump. That was an actual Trump ad, apparently. It said Trump military or something like that. And then it said Comrade Kamala. Comrade Kamala. I tried to say it right. Comrade Kamala. So I have that. So she said Kubrick would have been a Trump supporter. That's the news. All right. I have Black Americans done with Barack Obama. Let's see. Share this tab instead. Okay. It's weird. This is black guys saying they're done with Obama. Let's see if this is a good clip.
Hey, Barack Obama, as a black man, this must be sad, man. Fuck you. Fuck Kamala Harris and fuck the Democratic Party. We vote for Trump, right?
This message is for Barack. Ain't never did a fuck ass thing for niggas in the 8 years he was in the White House ever. Obama. Keep black men's name out your motherfucking mouth.
Man, if you want to sit your biscuit head ass down somewhere, goofy looking motherfucker, like Slender Man looking motherfucking ass, like anybody trying to listen to you, bro, you didn't get the memo. The community ain't fucking with you, dog. We ain't fucking with you. We ain't got 2 words for you. Yes, we do. Hi and bye. We are not fucking with you, B.O.
So they sent Obama to come get us and bring us back to the Democratic plantation. He like it. They sent Obama back to come get us. He insulted us. He said, I was highly offended when he said the only reason we voting for Donald Trump is because we don't want a woman in president, so we come up with, yo, nigga, shut up. Shut up.
Democrats then unleashed Barack Obama into the wild to shame us black men for not supporting Kamala Harris, despite the fact that she's yet to unveil any policies that represent our interests. Why is it okay for Barack Obama, Kamala Harris, and all these other people that supposedly look like me, why is it okay for them to get on TV and shame me for not voting for them simply because they look like me? That shit is racist, brother.
Barack Hussein Obama. The audacity of you to say to us that we are required and we better vote for Kamala Harris and that we don't want to see a woman in a position of power. You're a liar.
This message is for President Obama. First and foremost, you're not going to tell me what I'm going to do and what I'm not going to do. Number one, I ain't going to vote for Kamala Harris. I think that she's going to make a bad president. She's a bad vice president. Everything she does, she tries to politicize it. And she hasn't shown the fact that she wants to put America first ever. So I'm not voting for that individual. Secondly, I think that it's really sad that you would come out against black men and actually degrade them because they're not picking the person that you want them to vote for.
You all brought up Barack Obama to try to get us black men back to the demonic Democratic Party, behalf of all the men who are educated, who have learned their lesson and was burned by the Democratic Party. We want nothing to do with the Democratic Party. We stand with Donald J. Trump.
There you go. That's what black guys were saying about him. So we got that news. Yeah, it was crazy. Obama and Trump is doing better with blacks and better with blacks than any Republican since 1960. So over like 60 years since anybody has had that much support from the black community. I've seen the videos. They say we're done. With. So yeah, it's just representative. And that's why Kamala's freaking out, because she needs to have the black vote. Because typically they really voted for Democrats every single time by a lot, like 90%. Jedi says he got street cred for getting shot and coming back. Yeah, he did kind of, the court cases. It did give him some street cred. So I have a foreigner at a UFC fight, or a fighter from Brazil saying people need to vote for Trump. Let's see.
Okay, look, I don't want to talk about names. I don't like to talk about politics, but I would just say one thing. Now, Venezuela and my country, Brazil, is on the bad situation because the government is fucking left. And if you guys want the USA, don't be there, stay right. It's Trump, 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 for God.
I think didn't he say I don't want to say names, and then they just start screaming Trump over and over again. At first he was trying I feel like he lost control or something. First he said I don't want to say names, but stay right. And they just start screaming Trump's name over and over again. Some foreigner from Brazil, I think he said. But some of those foreigners, even some of those Venezuelans and stuff, they realize that she does come from communist roots, and they've seen it before. I have this gang takeover in Aurora. Okay, so we covered the Tim Walz. Oh, here we go. Trump's running this campaign ad because she's going on Charlemagne the God's radio show tomorrow. So she's doing a lot more media. Now she's gone on Charlemagne the God's show. This is a campaign ad Trump released.
Kamala supports taxpayer-funded sex changes for prisoners.
Surgery.
For prisoners.
For prisoners, every transgender inmate in the prison system would have access.
Hell no, I don't want my taxpayer dollars going to that.
Kamala supports transgender sex changes in jail with our money.
Kamala even supports letting biological men compete against our girls in their sports. Kamala is for they, them. President Trump is for you.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
Kamala supports taxpayer.
Pretty good one. I played the clip of Charlemagne the God saying, yeah, and I saw the ad. I was watching football, and I saw the ad during football where he shows Kamala saying what she said. And then, so Charlemagne said that he was watching football and he saw that ad and he thought it was very effective. So I don't know. He might bring that up when Kamala's on his show tomorrow. So she's going to be on his show tomorrow, then on Brett Baer on Fox News on Wednesday. I just have a feeling that Fox News thing is not going to go very well. She just hasn't been doing well lately at anything. Yep, football's on. All right, I think I pretty much showed you guys all the clips. Yep, I did. So I hope you guys enjoyed the show. It was nice spending some time with you guys. If you have any questions, you can pop them in right now. Got to eat something and watch. Yeah, I'll try to turn on Monday Night Football. Jets and Bills. Hope you guys got good news today from the show. Yeah, and then let's see. This Tim Walz thing is probably going to blow up. But yeah, they'll probably censor it. So that's why I changed the title of my stream. Thank you, guys. Thanks, Diligent Escape. Oh, no super chats? Really? No super chats today. You guys can always contribute to the show by giving super chats or also going to buymeacoffee.com/lifttheveil. Buymeacoffee.com/lifttheveil. You can access anytime. If you just want to drop a tip and leave a note for me, encouragement to do the show, etc. But we've been doing it every weekday, 4 p.m. Pacific time, 7 p.m. Eastern time. So we've been holding it down pretty steady. Overcoming all obstacles to bring you this show. All right. Good. Nobody's chiming in. We'll see you at the next one. William Birkin, thank you for that. It says buy me a coffee is very easy to use. Thank you. It is. buymeacoffee.com/shuttheveil. Thanks, Chrissy Tina. All right, guys. We'll see you at the next one then. For now, that's what it is.